Triangle of Sadness by Ruben Östlund won the 2022 Cannes Prix D'Or and 4 European Film Awards, and is a satirical comedy broken down in 3 sections. Ruben Östlund started his film career making skiing documentaries, and it inevitably, of course, meant that his creative originality would introduce his unique look and bizarrely absurdist look at the world in general. With his earlier features, they were short films, an autobiographical scene number 6682, and an incident by the bank. And then came Play, Force Majeure, The Square, and finally his graduation to Triangle of Sadness. It starts by looking at Carl, played by Harris Dickinson, an aspiring youth British male model whose relationship with his girlfriend, Yaya Charbli Dean, becomes somewhat strained, but he wins a trip on a luxury yacht, captained by an almost permanently jaded captain. That's Woody Harrelson, who spends most of his time on the voyage in a semi-inebriated state in his cabin. The chief steward, Therese, played by Iris Berben, figuratively keeps the ship afloat and keeps all the overprivileged guests happy. They are over-pampered, and in this, Östlund looks in his own way at the futility of it all, and the fact these rich people really don't know the value of money at all. They pay ludicrously large sums to be overindulged, and as such have no connection to real life and zero survival instincts or indeed skills. The young couple get to observe this, and to a certain extent are the audience's eyes. In one particular scene, their guests, for instance, regurgitate their seafood dinner on a squally sea as the boat lists back and forth. It was hilarious, while at the same time being totally pitiable. The third section of the film has the remaining guests who survived what appears to be a shipwreck on a desert island in a strange replaying of Lord of the Flies. One woman, who had been the head cleaner, goes to the top of the hierarchy and demands the young stud, Carl, satisfies her sexually in return for treats and favours. Now, this film has various layers and is a perfect examination of the social strata in society and how it can all be easily upturned when circumstances suddenly change. The Triangle of Sadness, as mentioned in the film, refers to a term used by plastic surgeons for the worry wrinkle that forms between the eyebrows, which can be removed with Botox. In February 2020, it was reported that Triangle of Sadness would begin principal photography on the 19th of February in Sweden and Greece. It had a 70-day shoot, and the cast would include Harris Dickinson, Charbli Dean, and Woody Harrelson. About 120 actors were considered for the role that Dickinson finally landed, and on 26th of March, production paused due to the COVID-19 pandemic, with about 37% of the shooting completed. Editing started during the first COVID-19 lockdown in 2020. Production resumed on the 27th of June in Sweden, allowing Harrelson to finish his scenes, but was halted again on the 3rd of July. The film has strong central performances from Harris Dickinson as Carl and Iris Berben as Therese, and overall the performance of Dolly de Leon as Abigail. Now, she was nominated, of course, this year for the Best Actress Oscar. The film released in the UK as a standard Blu-ray, but comes to the US Criterion collection as a 4K UHD presentation with HDR Dolby Vision, and it comes over 2 discs. It's a new 4K digital master approved by the director Ruben Östlund with a 5.1 surround soundtrack. 1 4K UHD disc, as usual, of the film, and 1 Blu-ray with the film and the following special features. New interview with Östlund and filmmaker and actor Johan Jonasson. 2 new programmes, one about the film's special effects and one about a challenging day on the set. Deleted scenes, a trailer, and an essay by the film critic A.S. Hamra. New cover art is by Hayley Turnbull, and the grenade is a very nice touch. Now, there are strong comparisons here to Louis Buñuel, but Östlund shows us that society's obvious class layers are still apparent, and there is an obvious imbalance which switches when circumstances change inalterably. Triangle of Sadness is a brilliantly scathing takedown of the wealthy and the beautiful by Swedish director Ruben Östlund. It has a running time of 147 minutes, and it releases on Tuesday the 25th of April as Spine 1176. And that film brings us to the end of this edition of Let's Talk Criterion. I'll be back on the next release, so above all, Keep watching those movies, and good viewing!